you have to deal with a lot of moving parts. You want everything to be on autopilot.
I got a huge increase in orders, but it's nothing
And to be prepared if anything changes.
I'll be right in.
With IBM, you can do both. Your business can bring data together across your clouds, from suppliers to shippers to the factory floor. So whatever comes your way, the wheels keep moving, seamlessly modernizing your operations. That's why so many businesses work with IBM.
Nice work, everyone.
Hello and good day for everyone watching, and I see that people have already joined us for this technical talk, which will be the fourth in the series of technical talks prepared by the 5G Zorro projects. So thank you all for watching, and I would like to present our subject for today's discussion. We want to talk about how data-driven automation will be used and will become a real enabler for the 5G and networking and beyond. We all know already that AI and ML and machine learning, so artificial intelligence and machine learning are technologies that have proven themselves in many industries and many areas today, and start to enter also the networking domain in terms of operational capabilities, automation, etc. We know that AI and ML are already known enablers for the 5G networks and beyond. What we want to discuss today is how we make it happen in reality, because business-wise and technology-wise, we need to be able to operationalize the data, because the data is the most important thing for the artificial intelligence and machine learning methods to be put in practice and be useful in the real world. So I would like to present our speakers today. So we have a good panel of experts that work in this space and have experience in this space. So ladies go first. I'll present Rita Santiago from Ubiware. She is also one of the partners. Ubiware is also one of the partners in 5G Zorro project itself. So Rita will present a company and then also give us some additional viewpoint that 5G Zorro has on our discussion subject today. Next one, we will talk with Panagiotis Demistikas from Wings ICT Solutions, who will present how they view the application of methods, artificial intelligence and machine learning methods, both for vertical industries and for operationalizing and automating the networks themselves. And then we will also speak to Puria Kadashenas from Huawei Europe, who will present us their work on smart networks analytics, how you need to automate the network, why you need analytics for that, and to make some predictive analytics as well, mostly in radio and core networks and for end-to-end network operations. So I welcome all the experts and thank you for being here. I hope for us having good discussions. We are shared our opinions before a meeting here. And let's get going. I think in this order of presentation, let's start. And also, I would like to say in advance that all these experts who are present today, they present their own informal views. It's not necessarily something that is brought forward for their employees and companies. So we want to be technical and open and share our experience and work done, because we all think that these issues are relevant and should be tackled both on the business, on standardization, on regulation, and on technology sides. And we want as many people as possible put their attention to these important issues. So let's go a round of presentation. So each one will present him or herself and what is their background that they want to bring to this story. After the presentation round, we will do questions, answers, and hopefully our audience will also bring questions to our table. So let's get going. Ana Rita Santiago from Ubiware, present yourself, and at some point we will also see nice video from Ubiware.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here. As Katia has already mentioned, I'm Rita from Ubiware. My background and why I'm here, I'm the Telecom and Future Internet Area Manager at Ubiware. We are an SME from Portugal that is working with different projects related to data, 5G networks, and how we can address different use cases and how we are using 5G for this. Related to my background, and I'm an engineer, a computer engineer. I have a master's degree in computer engineering, and I also had this course led me to the telecommunications part, which I think is a really good topic. And now we are seeing if the future networks and how it is changing the way that we are living, and how the business should also move and change according to that. But after seeing the video of Ubiware, I will also give some pitch description about how we are addressing this topic in our company.
Okay, thank you, Rita. And now we can see the video from Ubiware.
Ubiware was born out of a desire to change the world through technology. Founded in 2007 and entirely Portuguese, Ubiware began as a small telecommunications research company with big dreams. We became devoted to envisioning and developing revolutionary technology meant to transform everyday life. We've acquired experience and technical know-how throughout our journey that is now employed to create innovative products that shape life as we know it. We're continuously driven by problem solving. Our innovative products are the outcome of our in-house ideation, development, and implementation. We walk alongside our clients from idea to product to ensure we deliver custom technological solutions perfectly tailored to their specific needs. Ubiware recognizes and anticipates everyday challenges faced globally and sets innovative responses to tackle them in motion. We acknowledge urban environments flow and interact similarly to our own anatomy, based on data gathered from all its sensory points, provided in a combined and unified way. We offer cities the ability to make better structural and environmental decisions. Our goal is to make cities safer and more resilient through technology. It's all about matching sustainability with style. Today, we're suiting the future of more than 60 cities worldwide, thus providing a better life for their residents. In each project we carry out, we find an opportunity to learn and grow. Just as the world doesn't stop spinning, we don't stop evolving.
Okay, thank you for bringing this nice video. And I personally must say that in these few years of pandemics, I've missed several good trips to Portugal as part of 5G Zorro project. So we didn't have any face-to-face meetings at all, and this is too bad. Hopefully this will change. Okay, so we will get back to Rita again when she will talk about more about a little bit about how 5G Zorro sees the subject of today's discussion. Let's hear what Panagiotis and Win's ICT solutions bring to the table as background to the talk today. Panagiotis, your stage.
Hello, and thank you for the invitation. Action, Kathy. I hope you can see my screen. Can you see it? Can you confirm?
In a moment. It's probably not yet. Try again.
Okay.
Yes, but go to the presentation mode.
Yes, I went to the presentation. You should be seeing it now. I hope you do. So let's start by the introduction. I'm Panagiotis Domestic at the University of Piraeus for 10 years now. One of the co-founders of a company called Wings ICT Solutions here, and we'll talk about, let's say, a bit more on diagnostics for take on the beyond 5G continuum. So, I hope you can see it now. Can you confirm? Because I'm in.
Yes, we see, but if you press the presentation mode on your PowerPoint, we will see it bigger, because now we see the slide editing mode.
Well, this thing anyway.
Yeah.
Continue so as not to
time.
So let's go. Let's talk about the company we operate. I mean, as a company, but also in general as an ecosystem. I believe it is a matter of we can consolidate in four main areas. One is that we are trying to deliver services to enterprises and consumers, services in various areas, environment protection, inclusion, food security, which is important, resilience in manufacturing, which became more important during the pandemic, and supply chains. We are developing very, very powerful networks. We are 6G, we have 5G, and new generations are coming. There is evolution in the radio technology, stability in the topology of work, and in general, data is being transformed into communications. To the high end. By exploiting data that it has. The AI part, and we believe, and it's clear that AI is becoming prominent everywhere. To power new revenue streams, to power new services, but also to optimize operations. And also there is the IoT world, which is a part of the picture. And we need to connect, sense, actuate, and also make all this ecosystem secure. So how do we bring all this together? This is a challenge. It's accomplished it, in many also commercial features, but it is also opportunity for SMEs to say a specific problem, or let's say big problem sometimes. So speaking of SMEs, allow me to introduce Wings. Wings is a company founded in Greece, operations now in many parts of the world. We are around 150 people, and we company to deliver solutions in sectors. For the environment, start quality, but going up to action, for instance. Solution for transport structure, and for by utilities we mean energy and gas. For transport infrastructure, we start parking, but now we're managing road infrastructure, or let's say railways, airport stations, etc. We go to the production and manufacturing. We have solutions for agriculture, food safety, and towards the industry, for wellness. How do we build this solution? We have a department that develops, works on IoT. There are devices that we manufacture ourselves, for instance, for air quality, or gateways for interfacing with networks, or for parking, or other devices that we buy from the market and we integrate. For instance, this is a picture of an underwater camera for aquaculture aspects, or robots we get from the market and we program them. We have our own platform, which leverages on diverse networks, is cloudified, has the big data and the data storage capabilities, and also it can go up to the level of analyzing very fast various data. The biggest department internally works on AI, on various machine learning algorithms, on decision support, on digital twins, and on developing, let's say, services and applications that are close to the vertical. And also there is quite a big department working on visualization up to the level of XR. This is a picture of what WINS does. We are very, very, let's say, committed to developing also technology in parallel for the reason of, let's say, empowering more features in our applications. So we can have, let's say, in our minds, the model of a world that has, let's say, the 4 layers, radio with terahertz communications with the configurable server, networks which will become more cloudified, data-driven services, like sensing information, and also more flexible, to the specific that they are that deliver, not necessarily infrastructure and a fixed deploy for everything. There is, of course, the data part and also the service part, in which we believe very much in the cooperative robots, in more XR, in massive twinning, not just twinning certain parts of the world. AI will be, for optimizing, but also interoperate. You need to have, used to call also cross relations. And it's not so easy to deploy all this automation, have it there and working with everything, but I think trust, which needs definitions, expanded definitions compared to what security, compared to the classical, which was related to security, is, need to come to the table. A simplified that we work in terms, the one that you can see here. Imagine the infrastructure that machine learning decision made to have, let's say, some count or let's say some management functionality. We are already, of course, monitoring resolution, performance, KPI to the extent that we can do it. Networks are closed, but we can monitor ins and outs and also starts. The need for data, from data point, all these fascinating exists. There needs to be an ability in the machine accountability, the decision part, and also on the decisions in terms of etc. So let's say that we are architecture according to which will be provided in beyond 5G and even 5G to work in the area of how algorithms and make all this trustworthy in between the leveraging on work that has been done in the area of the let's say core AI mechanisms, because certain things have been researched there, various application areas. So what is important in my view, tools that can get diverse application to can do the AI-based analysis in order validation to the root causes, but also to make sure that things are open they should, or if they are not should, that what is the tool is something that we from 5G research and continuing. So complete, we are defining 6G. We are doing research as a community, components, I think, on proof of concepts and trials. I think opportunity for impact. If ever, I think I see at this stage in which we are a lot of value in interdisciplinarity with people and with entities working on AI, with people working on telcos, bringing them together and creating some nice synergy. This is the last slide, my contact information. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Panagiotis. And I think that First of all, it's a great background for our discussion, and I think you have captured it all, like why we need the AI and machine learning, what are the use cases, so you have lots of experience. But what else we have experienced during your speaking is that we have lots of work to do to improve the networking around the world, because this video conference experience suffered a little bit from not seeing you well and not hearing you well at some point. So people, we have work to do. Let's also give stage to Purya now, and also with the background of his perspective. Again, I want to recap a little bit what we want to do here. So all these, like, all the experts here, and I myself also have a story, but I'll spare you from hearing it. So we all know why we need the AI and ML to be applied to the networking in 5G and beyond. And now we want to make a point of one of the things that need to be to happen in order to achieve that is to allow the right and the suitable data processing in this field. So Purya, stage is yours, and let's go there.
Thank you very much.
Let's try to limit your speaking to like 5 minutes, okay?
Yeah, I will do it fast. I will do it fast,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. So yeah, my name is Purya Sayat-Hodashanas, and thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm working with Huawei Sweden Technology, so Huawei Technology Sweden, AB basically, and I'm part of the Cloud Core Network Lab. So my main focus is not mainly the radio side of the network, but is the core product of the Huawei. So let me share my, let's say, screen. So I'm part of I hope you can see my screen.
Not yet. Give it a minute.
Okay.
Maybe it's...
Yeah, is it?
Okay.
Yeah?
Now we can
Okay,
see.
excellent.
Go.
Excellent. So yeah, let me also use the pointer. So as I was saying, so I'm part of a wonderful team that is working on the core network, basically, and we do a very diverse type of activities, basically from one side doing further research towards beyond 5G and 6G if you want. I would use this word a bit carefully, but yeah, okay, 6G, sixth generation. And from the other side, we're working closely with the standardization bodies, in particular 3GPP, different essays, and also associations. So we are very active in, let's say, 5G ACIA, 5G AA, 5G MEC, and so on and so forth. So I have this privilege of working with these colleagues, and this helps me to learn a lot from one side and also develop new ideas. So from all the works that we are doing, I just want to point out some new trends and new things that are emerging in line with the, let's say, the way that the standard in the mobile telecommunication system is also moving towards, that is very much in line with the use of artificial intelligence and ML. And as I said, because of my background working on the core network, probably my main focus would be on the core network itself, not in the RAN side. So basically, from one side, we are seeing the technology moving from a kind of reactive mode to more proactive and become even perceptive. So this is the forecast that we are seeing happening. So you are saying we can see that for different applications that are happening, you need to predict what would be, for example, the quality of service, the type of mobility that needs to be supported, part of diagnosis in the multi MNO scenarios, multi-domain scenarios, and of course here the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning would be very much needed. And of course, data and data sharing, especially in the multi-MNO, multi-domain scenario, is becoming more and more important. Of course, we cannot claim that this issue has been solved now, but I can confirm that there is a, let's say, tendency, there is a direction that the technology is moving towards, and this is something that different players, vendors, and MNOs and different players in the mobile telecommunication system is trying to address. So just going quickly to the next slide. So basically, we are also from the other side seeing the evolution of the core network itself. So more automation is needed, either on the different functionalities of the core as of today. So I'm talking about the so-called service-based architecture. So to put it simple, this famous picture coming from 3GPP that you have the user plane and then you have the control plane and different functionalities. So some of those functionalities need to be enhanced, maybe with some, let's say, extra AI or machine learning, let's say, techniques, or maybe you would like to add some extra functionalities to the big picture. There is also a trend for more simplified core network. Also, exposure of core is becoming important. So either in the form of analytics that you can expose to other layers to combine, let's say, a sort of sharing of information, therefore making better decisions, and hopefully with the help of AI and machine learning. And also either adding the new layers, as has been discussed before, like, I don't know, let's say having a transversal AI layer that incorporates analytics from the radio side, from the core side, from the management side. So these are all happening. But again, there are so many points that I would say probably it's not necessarily technically difficult, but some of them are business polemic. So there are things that maybe we need to carefully approach because they may put in danger either a procedure in the business side, or they may, let's say, jeopardize some way that, let's say, the ecosystem works. So one thing that I think it's important to make sure is, like, when we are suggesting technological suite, let's say, solutions, we also take into account that this should be, from one side, feasible, and from the other side, suitable for the business. Otherwise, this wonderful idea might die just because that there is no one to see the benefit of that. So, and with this, I think I would summarize my very quick talk. So I'm looking forward for the Q&A and or roundtable. So I think it would be a good opportunity to further discuss all these points, and maybe we can go deeper to each of these items and discuss it further. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Puria. This was exciting, and you touched up on several points that I do want to dive deeper. And I want to go back to Rita, like, to show us a brief presentation of what we do with AI, ML, and the data in 5G Zorro.
Yeah, and 5G Zorro is addressing some of these points, and thank you, Kathy, for this introduction. I think that one of the topics that is most relevant, and is one of the things that we are starting to discuss in this 5G and beyond networks, and is already being addressed in 5G Zorro, is the SLA monitoring. Because when we are delivering the network and we are addressing the needs and the requirements of the users and an industry, for example, we are expecting to provide a quality of service that our end user is aware and is expected to have. And here in 5G Zorro, we are addressing specifically this topic. For example, where we are using AI and machine learning to detect when the SLA can be we have a breach of an SLA, let's say. And this topic is really relevant. Another topic that I think is quite good and important to bring today about 5G Zorro is how we are orchestrating the networks. Because in a digital world that we are living now, we have different vehicles, autonomous vehicles. We have drones, we have mobile phones, we have bicycles, and everything is connected to the network, and they should communicate with each other. But how we can orchestrate these different devices and the data they are sharing, and of course, and also in 5G Zorro we are addressing this. But of course, we can discuss. And here is the main pillars also of 5G Zorro, and thank you for sharing that. But the main topics that I think that could be relevant for discussion today is this, and I don't know if Kathy want to share the video from 5G Zorro to give a brief description of the project.
I don't know whether we have prepared such a video, but we do have a coordinator of 5G Zorro here on our chat. So Shuaib, you're welcome to jump to the stage whenever you want. But thank you. I think it was a good summary. So you presented the usage, basically why we need again, to reframe this discussion. We already know, every one of us. So if I remember, if I think back a few years, so when we worked on this another project called slicing in the I think, second stage of 5G program. So we had to convince people that AI and ML methods are applicable to networks at all. And today everyone is convinced that it is applicable. What we want to discuss, and there are many great students and great researchers who are invested in doing and applying this method and doing this exact domain knowledge infusion into the methods themselves to make them useful for what we need. But again, all these methods need data, and the data enablement is one specific thing that we all need to take care of. Otherwise, we will not see it happening in the real life and in the business. And this is the main question we wanted to address. And all of you have already presented that the data is underlying like gold of all these systems. And Yurita was saying that we need to share data across, like from the user to across the layers. And Purya was talking more about sharing data across domains to achieve something end-to-end. All of this is very important. And as the domains can be owned by different providers, and services and applications belong to different players. In 5G Zorro, we try to get to bring this together to some marketplace where all these players will interoperate in a trusted way. So what do you think about the need for sharing data in this multi-party, multiplayer environment? Do we really need to share data to create some sort of shared marketplace? Or do we can get away with it? So maybe we can just do some analytics in local domains and then share inside, outside, and get away from the need to incentivize players to share data. So let's do a short round of on this table. Panagiotis, will you start?
Yes, thank you. I can start. Okay, sharing data today is a bit hard. I mean, there are business decisions, there are legal aspects, but I think that we will be heading in this direction. Maybe I believe it will not always be the case of sharing the data, the raw data. Maybe we could be imagine of sharing insights. I mean, I process the data and I offer it to the service layer in order, to optimize its operations, for instance, in an airport or in a retail context, etc. Of course, there will continue to be the sharing of data, within each layer. I mean, for instance, an operator through certain agreements with a vendor providing to an SME, and in order to optimize something, through NDAs, etc. So I think sharing data today is hard, but it will happen, in certain contexts that we need to experiment, but also sharing insights. I mean, sharing the outcome of the processing of the data is something that may come a bit, I believe will come a bit faster.
Okay, thank you. So this is aligned. So Purya, do you have any other opinion, something like to back up this opinion?
Yeah, I can maybe try to address this question from a perspective that also answer the question that I had also on the chat. So so from one side, I would say, like, let's keep in mind that the reason that we have, I mean, at least it's my perspective, right? So one of the reasons that we have operators basically as a main player in the mobile telecommunication could be considered like in a maybe with two main pillars, let's say. One would be like traditionally we had this provision of connectivity to people. Now there is a shift to provide basically connectivity to the people and things. And this means not only provision of connectivity is important, but also maintaining the connectivity, providing the support services, and all of these are also part of a big business question that operators as a player, as a strong player, are able to do that. So that's why there is a dominance of operators. And when we're talking about dominance of operators, then there might be some part of their business that they would like to keep close. And one of them is the network data itself, right? So when we're talking about data, basically from one side, we're talking about the data that travels through the network, and from the other side, the data that network generates. by operation of the network itself. Okay, so I'm referring to the second part here. Now, there is an intention to move towards a more openness, and for this there are efforts to introduce new functionalities like what has been mentioned here, like network data analytics function. So instead of sharing the data itself, maybe you can produce relevant analytics that you can keep your data for yourself and share the analytics out of your data. And this can be combined with some other analytics coming from your RAN side, or there's another counterparty function from the management side, which is like management network data analytics function. Or you can combine them together and have another, I don't know, intermediate AI or machine learning solution in between to automate some of your operations. So, but here, at least at the moment, I'm not seeing the real sharing of data in a sense of transferring data from A to B, but more sharing the wisdom, the knowledge that data can generate. At least this is the stage. But I do agree that in the future, especially if you're moving towards more private networks, and as Rita mentioned in the beginning, that there are some hybrid models that part of the network could be provided by a neutral host, maybe the RAN side, and the core side remains in the operator, or vice versa, or maybe there are some models that few networks coexist between each other. There might be a need to better share even the data itself. So maybe there are some solutions that we need to explore. I agree that maybe Gaia X initiatives or some other models adopted by other domains of technology could be a way to go, but at least I don't believe it would happen in the next 5 years. Maybe it's a long-term objective that for sure we need to look into and try to make ourselves ready for it. Yeah, I hope I answered the and maybe just coming back to the question. I mean, the challenges of NWDAF. I mean, we can discuss about it for so long, because you might have distributed functions. This is one challenge. How you make sure the synchronization. There might be like you might have different functions in this higher layer that I explained how to synchronize. I mean, maybe we can take this one offline, because I would speak about this for so long.
Yeah, I believe, thank you, Purya, and I believe each of us can speak about this long. And and I agree with you that sometimes we can just process the data locally and make insight, but then we need to move forward, making these analytics, like end-to-end analytics, composable. So you can basically take these pieces of insight, of wisdom, as you called it, and combine these to create like more total wisdom. And we are not there yet. So we are not we even do not have end-to-end object models and the like complete understanding of what's going on where. So and in experimentation phases, we researchers tend to like put all the data together, and I agree with you that business-wise it won't be possible for quite some time. It's interesting opinion, and also there was a question here on the screen related to this WDAF integration about the efficiency of data transfer itself. So as soon as we believe that we need to put all the data together, we also increase overheads also on these management and monitoring networks, which is not a good thing to do. But when we talk, at least in this scope of 5G Zorro, when we speak about sharing data, we are not intending to say that we will move data physically to some central point. It can still be distributed, and we want to make this data access source and data analytics functions that act upon the data somehow transferable to where data belongs. So we see something like this cloud native model of applying analytical functions and data access source, data providers, etc., on a global scale. It's like one big Mac applications for data analytics, and this is our dream. We are not there yet, and that brings me to the next question I have, because I correct me if I didn't see any other questions from outside. But the next question is exactly this cloud native thing. how do you see the role of clouds in like this new space of 5G and 6G and beyond? We already see that some of the core networks that Furia speaks about for private domains, you can just take your core network, run in the cloud, right? And only UPFs will run somewhere near the client, etc. So let's say if you have some opinions on what role the cloud and cloud provider will play in this industry in the future, and because it's a new player in the industry, right? So can we do this round? I see that Andrea mentions we are about to close, but let's make it quick. Rita, let's start with you this time.
Yeah, no problem. I think that there's a need to address the question of how cloud will play a role in the next beyond 5G networks. And we are seeing also for the research areas made in 6G networks, that is one of the topics that we are discussing now in this sector of telecommunications, is that we will need to address the data even in the cloud, because we will need to have the ability to manage the data between the IoT device until the cloud, because the continuum that we should be aware of and address in a point that an IoT device is generating data at every second, but we will come to an end when the data that is stored at the cloud will be so much that we don't have the capability to process it. So I think that here it will be really a need for AI and machine learning techniques to address even the energy efficiency that is needed to process all the information into the cloud, to process the information even in the cloud, and also to address middle layer processment until the IoT to the cloud providers, because the cloud providers will have a bunch of information that is running and it's being stored, but at the same time they need to process and get insights from that. And one example and something that is happening in a small scale is industries where we are starting to create cyber physical systems running in connecting with private 5G networks, and also providing information at every time. So the bunch of information and the latency of the information that is being produced creates the need to the cloud server in the industry to be fast enough to process all this information and send business intelligence to the managers so they can make decisions. And if we think of this in the scale of a network in a city, for example, where we have different verticals, it creates the needs and a real challenge that I think we should address in the future.
Yeah, so I agree, and I think unfortunately we probably don't have time to complete the round of your opinions on the cloud, and this is unfortunate because this discussion is going very well. I'm excited because we do share like experiences, and we could proceed speaking. But this is, I think, a good segue to say that maybe some of us will be able to meet soon at EU CNC conference, where 5G Zorro also is going to be present, and some work from us will be heard in the conference. And I hope, I personally won't be there, but 5G Zorro will be present, and I hope some of you will be present. And I will be very glad to hear from you in the future and share our work and opinions going forward, because every one of our experts today has lots of good inputs to this discussion, and probably to many more discussions. But hopefully this question has teased your minds, I mean the audience, and so we will have more attention from research community, from standardization community, and from business community, because at some point it seems that like data processing and big data hype is behind us, but we need to make sure that whatever is needed to be done for data processing for this 5G and 6G evolution is done right, because it is different this time. It's not just your generic big data processing, it's something new, and we need to address it. Otherwise, we will not see all this wonderful thing happening in practice. So I believe that we are almost done with time. That's why we can also, all of us say like just and thank you for our audience. Thank you for our experts. For sure, I personally enjoyed this, and hope to see you later. If you have some announce for EUCNC from 5G Zorro, we can get it running now, Andrea, because we do not have any more time to do a round of conversation.
Hi everyone, this is Shoaib Siddiqui. I am the project coordinator of 5G Zorro project. A 5G Zorro project is very much focused on addressing the ubiquitous computing and networking challenge of the 5G. In solving these challenges, we identified a more narrow down focus for us, and these things involved addressing the automated service and network management that's required because of the distributed multi-technology and multi-domain networks that increase the complexity of the network. And also we see that for the future networks, the cross-domain trust across the multi-stakeholders, multi-operators, that then adding to this network slicing, multi-tenancy, virtualization, and all this further complicates the trust establishment across the domains. Another challenge that we are addressing is related to the dynamic and shared spectrum management. As we all know that spectrum is a key scarce asset in 5G. 5G Zorro project will be having a booth at the upcoming EUCNC conference in Grenoble, France. We will be demonstrating our different use cases to validate the platform we have developed. It will be a very good chance to meet up there. So if you're attending that conference in June, that will be very good to see you at our booth and exchange and collaborate ideas over there. Thank you very much.